Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tax Shack Women in Business Seminar. Thank you all for being here and showing up and getting this far with us. We have a room full of amazing, great speakers today that I'd love to introduce to you all and get this party started. They have a lot of great information to share with you from a lot of diverse categories of business, and I feel this is going to be a really amazing experience today. I want to start off the introductions today with Alyson Campbell. Alyson's a senior public relations and marketing executive. She operates and is the founder of Heart and Soul PR. They specialize in hospitality with anything from health and wellness, real estate industries, and luxury. You will hear a lot more about her soon. We have Tamira Smith. She is the #1 ATL media baddie. She's literally involved in everything that you wouldn't even think about, from nonprofit to radio, and she's going to tell you all about her background and history soon. Deja Pino, she runs a community of over 1,500 people and tells everyone how to invest their money. It's the stories that you'll hear from this young woman are incredible. She's a college graduate. She's less than 30, and she's a powerhouse in her community. Next, we have Rhea Ward from one of my favorite companies, Edward Jones. She's going to tell you how to take care of all the money. You know, it's one of my favorite referred partners when it comes to the Tax Shack, when it comes to small businesses, is Edward Jones. Rhea's going to talk all about that. Next, we have Kenisha Cromity. Kenisha is an estate planning attorney. She's going to tell you how to hide and save all the money and keep it for your family and legacy later. And last but not least, we have Jasmine Arthur, and she is the inventor and patented head creator of the wine glass necklace. And the wine glass necklace is a great invention for all your parties and fun times. So, lastly, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Dave, and I am the man at the Tax Shack, and I'm here to tell you guys all about everything that has to do with business today and how to have fun with it. So my tool of empowerment today is all these women, and we're going to have a great time. Is everyone ready? If you're ready, if you want to go in the chat and you guys want to give me a little emoji, let's go with a little smiley face. Anyone want to put a little smiley face in the, or a fire in the chat? Let's get this going. Awesome. Thank you guys. Okay. I want to start this off first with a big thank you to the man behind this idea and vision. His name is Jeffrey Pierre-Louis. He's been doing all the social media and marketing for the Tax Shack, and I want to give him a shout out for putting this together right off the top. So thank you, Jeff, for taking care of that and making this vision come to reality. So without further ado, I'm going to let all the ladies give themselves a deeper introduction, so that way we can get a good capture of who they are and where they come from. I want to start by throwing it to Alyson to let her have her 1-minute speech on who she is and how she got here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. You could be anywhere tonight, so thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll be able to share some really great game with all of you. I'm Alyson Campbell, the CEO and founder of Heart and Soul PR. I've had my own business for 10 years. We're focused on PR, marketing, and social media from a variety of verticals: health and wellness, luxury, fashion and beauty, a bunch of different things. So love what we do and just helping clients find their unique brand voice, get to market, and many other things. I started my career in New York City, and I was there working for major agencies. Most recently, I was in-house with Mattel's American Girl doll brand, and just really excited to be here with this amazing group tonight. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Alyson. Kenisha, let me give you the floor for a minute to introduce yourself all the way from the East Coast.
All the way from the East Coast. Hello, everyone. I am Kenisha Cromity, and I am a trust and estate planning attorney. I recently moved to Atlanta from DC, so I am settling down here, but I specialize in estate tax minimization and asset protection. I essentially help individuals put structure around their legacy so that your family knows where assets are going, to decrease any chaos and confusion, to decrease estate taxes, as I said. So I learned as as I've been going throughout my career, I realized there's so many people that don't have estate plans in place. More than you would think. Even from the regular everyday person to the most professional person, it's just something that people put on the back burner. And it's an important, very important thing to have. And even further, about estate tax minimization, is even less of a knowledge there. So I want to educate people on that. I'm actually going to launch a social media page on Saturday to just simplify all of these things down in a way that it resonates with people and motivates them to get started with their own estate plans. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Kenisha. Thank you. Tamira, how about you? Let's hear about you, the number one media baddie.
Hey guys, once again, just to follow up what everybody said, thank you for being here. As said previously, you could be anywhere else, but just even being in spaces like this is the first step, getting to want to network and learn things. So, congratulations for even doing that. My name is Tamira. I went to Syracuse for public relations and journalism. Straight from there, I went back to New York City, where I'm from, and worked with the Breakfast Club. I moved out to Atlanta a little bit after that. From there, I ended up starting a podcast with a person that was in the music industry, a really well-known person in the music industry. So the podcast was really successful. From there, I went on to work with other radio companies such as um, iHeart, and then after that, most recently, I worked with One Media, and right now I'm working with Now That's TV. They're starting a new radio company, so we're building that from the ground up. So I'm really excited about that, and just other things. I have nonprofits. I'm a social media personality, and yeah, I'm just here to make sure I can answer any questions that anybody may have about navigating the media space, whether it be radio or if it's journalism. I've also written for different magazines. So yeah, anything media I pretty much can help you cover.
Oh my God, that's so cool. Deja, you want to tell us about your community and what you got going on and who you are?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name's Deja Pino, 27 years old. I just, just to make it really quick, started in 2020 for me. It was really big. It was a time where I really wanted to figure out, I think everybody was trying to figure out how to make money, how to have multiple streams, what to do. And I fell into learning the skill set of trading, and it really changed my life. I've actually helped people just learn how to have multiple streams, and especially with what's going on in today's world, I think it's really important and essential to just have different things going on, different skill sets. So I'm very passionate about that. And I do feel like, my purpose here is to serve and impact and just help people, put them in position really. I did go to school. It's crazy. Tamira said that I went to school for radio, television. So I've worked with NBC and Fox in the, photography and videography space. So just really big on building communities and being a vessel for people to just really position themselves to be better, to want more, and to just really, do what they need to do to be where they want to be in life and live the lifestyle that they dream of.
Amazing. Room full of powerhouses. Speaking of that, let's hear about someone who's done a patent or two. Jasmine, want to talk about the wine glass necklace?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Jasmine Arthur, coming live from Santa Monica, and I am the inventor of the wine glass necklace. And so basically, a little background on me is I was a personal assistant for 10 years, and everyone always told me, you should have your own business. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do, but I knew that I'd be good at running a business. But I just knew that I wanted to do something that I was passionate about, and nothing really lit my fire other than wine. That was the thing. And at one day at a wine festival, I got the idea for these necklaces, and I spent, the next year after that going downtown and buying different types of jewelry, and like how do I want to do this? What's the best way? Doing R&D, and then realizing the fact that I used to think I was lazy and that I wasn't disciplined, and I didn't know enough about a business to start one, all of a sudden went out the window because I was passionate about something finally. And it was just a matter of finding something that was my own, that I could be passionate about, that I could throw myself into. That was my motivation. And I realized really quickly that I wasn't an unmotivated person. I just needed to find the right motivation. And so, that being said, like you said, Dave, patents. I have 3 design patents on my product, and those were pretty expensive. And so was all the R&D and signing up for festivals and getting my brand going. So, uh, to fund my business, I started another business, which was bookkeeping, just so that way I would have a steady stream of income while I poured all my money into my startup. And then the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden, nobody wanted a party favor, and everybody wanted their books done so that they could get a loan. And that is when I really realized that I was good at helping people with their books, getting people started, cleaned up, that had no idea where their businesses were at. They had never reconciled an account. But they needed loans, and they needed to keep their businesses open, and they needed to learn about payroll, and like, why can't I get a PPP loan? Oh, I wasn't running payroll. Well, why should I be running payroll? And so all of a sudden I became like a business advisor to people who realized that they're, working for somebody else in that kind of climate maybe wasn't the best thing. And a lot of people wanted to start businesses and came to me to show them how. And I thrived in that. And it grew into a partnership with Dave and the Tax Shack. And now I'm Money Mommy, and I'm here to help everybody get their businesses on track and organized and get their finances in order so that they have something to present to these other beautiful women to show them what to do with their money now that they know that they have some and where it's going and how to advise them. But you can't get advice if you don't even know where your finances are at. So that's my role in the Tax Shack, is getting people educated on what they're spending and what they're making, and how to move forward in that.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking about it, where to put the money, you led me to the next one, which is Rhea. Rhea, talk to us about Edward Jones.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So, again, my name's Rhea Ward, and I'm a licensed investment advisor with Edward Jones. And just a little background on my experience before I started with Edward Jones. I started out at TD Ameritrade, really just teaching people how to go through the trading. I ended up getting into this industry because I wanted to learn how to make my money work for me versus me always working for money. And it actually led me to getting my securities licenses and got a great start at TD Ameritrade and a great foundation, and moved on to Morgan Stanley, worked in an advisory role there. And now I'm here at Edward Jones building my own practice because I really enjoy helping people like yourselves who are business owners trying to kind of make sense of all the money that they're making, because about 98% of my clients are business owners, so it's my niche. And I tend to see that business owners are really good at what they're good at, which is their craft, and figured out how to go get money from their craft. But a lot of times they don't have the time to look at their books and be the financial professionals, because that's a whole nother skill set within itself. So I found a lot of passion and just being that resource for my clients. I help my clients with really unique strategies. I can help them, find ways to create loans for themselves through investment portfolios. I help people when it comes to their insurance planning, because you need insurance if you have business owners, other business partners that you work with. There are just so many different levels to financial planning, especially for business owners, not only in their business, but a lot of times they're so focused on the business, they forget to plan for their personal finances too. So I kind of help them to plan for all things and keep it holistic. I'm based in Atlanta, but I have technology integrated, so I make it easy to service clients nationwide. So I'm not just licensed in the state of Georgia, I'm licensed nationwide. So that's a little bit about me.
That's the best, when you can help people everywhere. That is the best, Rhea. So now, if we're all ready to get down into the questions, I want to use the 100 emoji. If everyone wants to type 100 in the chat, we can get this going. Excellent. Okay. Let's get going. My first question I'm going to throw to Kenisha to get us going. I want to know, what was the turning point that helped you grow your business to the level it is at today?
Okay, so I heard a lot of people throw around talk about passion and what they're, that passion is their is most important, is what keeps them going. And it's the same for me. I am so passionate about people having the proper knowledge and information to protect their legacy. Many times when I have my initial consultations and even second meetings before we even engage with clients, I'm making sure they're thoroughly knowledgeable about a potential plan for them. They're thoroughly knowledgeable. They have all of the information about what's a will, what's a trust, what are the documents you should be thinking about. And for my business owners, what are the documents that you should be thinking about to protect your business? And to be able to provide all that information, you really have to be passionate about it. Some people are, you'll meet some attorneys and they maybe will throw around, throw out certain things like, okay, you should do this, you should do that, but you'll leave the meeting not really knowing uh, much about the documents that you're supposed to put in place. So I am really big about educating, and that comes from my passion to educate people about estate planning, and seeing so many people without it and how it has caused so much of turmoil and conflict and damage in a lot of families by just not having structure around their assets, around their legacy, etc.
It's so true. It really is such a great point that has to get covered. You have to know what to cover and how to cover it, because it's always a problem in the past. With that, I want to go to Ria with my next question. Ria, here's a good one. What was an early mistake that taught you the biggest lesson about scaling a business?
An early mistake for me was not delegating tasks. So when I was in the corporate space, I was pretty much used to doing everything. I was assigned a role. So I'm assigned a role. I'm used to pretty much doing everything on my own and being self-sufficient. But when I start building my own practice, they gave me an assistant, and, I'm thinking, oh, I don't, maybe I'll tell her to do stuff. Maybe I won't, whatever. She's there, but I'm used to doing everything on my own. And I realize that is a big mistake when you have a business, because it takes away time from you being able to do what you're great at. And once I really started leaning on people around me and letting people be experts at what they're experts at, it really started helping me to take on a lot more within my business. But I would say I still struggle with it a little bit, because I think as business owners, we just want to do things ourselves. It's just like we're like go-getters, and we don't wait for people. So I think sometimes it's a natural inclination to want to just do it yourself. But I will say, once I made that change, I've started seeing a lot more growth in my business. So yeah.
It's very true. You brought up the big word, which is delegate. Delegate's a big one. Um, so here's my next question that I'm going to ask to Deja. Deja, are you ready? How do you identify what to delegate versus what to keep on your plate?
I would say for me personally, I think being organized, and that was one of my biggest things, like coming into just entrepreneurship and having businesses and having community and being a vessel and being in front of people and talking. I think the biggest thing is to delegate your time, your organization. It helps a lot. Coming in, I was all over the place, and it's so easy to get wrapped up in hustle, 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 grind, 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 and just, especially as a woman, like, we want to be on top. We want to be the one to do it all, but sometimes you just have to be able to differentiate a schedule, organization, structure and discipline. That way you're able to effectively run your business and talk to clients and talk to customers in a way that you need to. Because once you get overwhelmed, it pretty much goes downhill from there. So that's one thing I had to kind of delegate with myself and in my community to help people plan, schedule, write it down, and make it plain.
Wow, you know what? It's a good one. Here's my next question for everybody. Sorry, my light is automated, so it likes to play games with me like I'm a ghost. Here's my next question for Allie. What strategies do you recommend for staying competitive in a crowded industry?
Well, I love this question, David, because I think any of the ladies on here can attest. It's always going to be a crowded market no matter what, but what sets you apart? So I think, in the work I do is really helping clients understand what their unique value proposition is, right? So you've heard from each of the speakers tonight already. This is like the one liner, right? This is what they're passionate about. This is what we do. So in a crowded space, you really need to have definition around what you do. And then for further to that, they're honestly not buying the product, right? They're buying you, right? So at the end of the day, making sure, you can really have that professional polished presence, whether that's your website. Kenisha alluded to social media. She's going to be launching some great things there. So having those channels in place, not only so people can find you, but that it looks great, right? Because everyone is going, we all know we're a visual society. We only have so much time in the day, and people are even more than ever clicking past you if you do not make that great first impression. So those are a few tips I would say, David, to really stand out. Oh, and also do your homework. Know who else is in your space and work to set yourself apart, and again, they're buying you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was a great one. I'm gonna put a little light bulb in the chat. I found it while looking for emojis because it was a good one. Tamira, this one's for you. How do you decide which opportunities to say yes to and what to say no to?
Oh, that is such a good question. Honestly, you have to do what aligns with your brand. There's a lot of times that people want to do things for exposure. And aside from just aligning with your brand, do not overextend yourself. One thing that I think this generation, especially because of social media, everyone's so accessible, right? So I could easily just DM Drake if I want to. It doesn't mean he's going to read it, but in my head as a fan, I do think I have access to him. If I want to know what he's doing, I could go check his story. So if you do want to build a brand that people want to follow and that kind of is a little bit more longevity to it and a stronger feel to it, you do want to be a little bit more exclusive. So you don't want to take every opportunity that's given to you. You do want to know where you want to go and how you want to get there, and kind of have a vision for that, right? So know what your end goal is, or at least your medium to end goal is, or next step, and kind of places and things you can do that might take you there, and then that can help you navigate which opportunities you want to take and which ones you don't. But you really just have to know, and like you said, Allie, you have to do your research. You have to do your homework. You have to know what you're walking into. Some things might sound great on the surface, but always make sure you're getting it written down. You're kind of reading that full contract. You know what is expected of you and what you can expect from the company or the partnership that you're working with. So you really just want to have as much information as you can before you make any decisions. People are really good at talking. People know how to present things to you and make it sound good. And some things and also you have to be aware with who you're taking advice from. Get a really good mentor, somebody who knows the game, somebody who's already successful that can give you advice and help you navigate these kind of conversations and situations.
You know what? It's true. You really do want to read the contract and get the fine print because they can present it to you verbally however they want to, but what it's in writing that a third person is going to see or you're going to read it, that's what makes a lot of sense. It's so true. Jasmine, this question's for you. When this is specifically about Wine Glass Necklace, what was the most important elements of building that brand?
The most important elements were to be unique, obviously, and to make sure that the functionality was perfect, and also to really make sure that it was something that was fun. Like I watched Shark Tank for years before I invented this, and I would always hear the same things over and over again, which is like, what makes you stand out? Like, what problem are you solving? These type of things. And for me, the problem I was solving was a problem that was my own. And that's, again, one of my biggest things when I'm talking to people about starting a business is um, solve your own problem, right? And my problem was, oh, I go to these wine festivals and everything's so ugly that you could, hold your glass with. I didn't invent holding the glass, but I did make it better. And by doing that, and going to all these events and like getting feedback from people and really like listening to the feedback of like, oh, this would be better if it was like a little shinier or whatever. And then also knowing when not to take feedback, because then all of a sudden you open yourself up to everybody's opinion. Oh, you should actually put a straw in there so people could drink it without lifting up their, and then you're like, thanks. Yeah, thank you very much. So having the confidence to know your vision and not let anybody else's influence come in, but also when you would hear a good idea, like, well, what if you use pearls? Oh, I didn't think of pearls. That's a great idea. So also at the same time, um, taking in things that are valuable. So knowing, for me, it was all about knowing my vision, staying true to my vision, not letting outside influences corrupt that vision, but also taking advice from people who had really good advice. Like I found, like you guys were saying, a mentor by chance downtown, by just going downtown and looking for suppliers. And they would be like, did you know that you could make these with jump rings? And I was doing all these things. They're like, no, just use this tool. And I'm like, oh my God. So also not being too boisterous about your brand, having a balance between bragging and saying what you're up to, but also like saying what you're up to the right people so that they can help you get there. And that would be, I would say, how I was able to like build my brand was saying enough to the right people to get me further, but also keeping myself true to my vision of like the luxury look and not compromising the way that I wanted it to function.
Yeah, it's being unique and keeping your character is true in everything. Deja, I have a question for you. When you're creating such a large online presence and growing your community, how do you maintain authenticity?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. I believe for me, the biggest thing is relationships with people. Not always, especially when you are, well, in my particular community, it's not just always about the money and what you can gain and the outcome. Sometimes it's the person who you're becoming in the process and just being there for people throughout their journey. And I think it's important to not always have the business face, business voice on, but being genuine, having real conversations with people, building real friendships with people, having experiences outside of business. That has helped me really be able to cultivate a huge community, and people actually will. I think someone else said it on here. Like they people join you, they follow you, and not what you offer. And so it doesn't matter what company or organization you're in front of, because people genuinely like who you are and how you move, and they'll follow you wherever you go just because of that. So I think that relationship is super, super important when it comes to that.
Relationships are number one. I couldn't agree with you more. Allie, you're my next question. And here I need a free one from you. Throw me an alley oop. What's one branding or marketing strategy you believe every entrepreneur should use in 2026? Tell me the
Well,
2026 free game.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're asking now, David, because now there's more time to prepare. So, first and foremost, I think we are all aware that AI is everywhere. Whether you're scared of it, whether you're somewhere in the middle, whether you are an expert, you need to understand AI in any aspect of your business. And AI is a great tool. I get questions from a lot of people asking me how I'm using it in my business. Again, there's the scale of unpredictability a little bit about the tools, right, David? So I think you need to really be attuned to at least understand the nuts and bolts. You don't need to be an expert at every AI platform. That's not what I'm suggesting, but do understand how it can enable efficiencies within your business, as some of the other ladies talked about tonight, especially with delegation or things that can really help you improve your workflow and your process. So treating it like a tool. Again, it's not a replacement, but treating it like a tool is really important, and understanding it. As a business owner, that is definitely, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. The other thing I would offer is, as we kind of talked about before, but really doing your homework, really understanding where your industry is going, where you're headed, right? If you're not reading the news, I mean, I know it's like 101, but you have to understand, and that's where clients come to me and say, well, what do you think? So really understanding, the markets, the people you're working with, try to be a step ahead at any time, or maybe even two steps ahead. So those are a couple things I would recommend. But definitely, if you want to kind of dust off that old website before the new year, I highly recommend that. As I mentioned earlier, the social media channels, start planning your content so you're not overwhelmed at the holidays as well. So those are a few just quick tips that I think anybody could do.
Yeah, as Jeff and Eileen always tell me, you have to have a digital audit. Um, what's but the AI is not going away. I can tell you a year ago that I was questioning certain things, like when they would first come out and be used, and now like you have to really know how to play nice with them and at least get along and have them be your friend, because you really will get left in the dust really fast. I mean, even with stuff as simple as writing a good email. Like I can see when it's an AI email, I can see when somebody wrote it themselves, and a lot of times when it's written themselves and there's some misspelling and it's authentic, I kind of like it better because I know it wasn't BS. But at least if it's done with AI, I know every bit of information is going to be there. Who, what, where, when, and why is covered. So bless its heart, we should at least acknowledge its existence. Um, so I have a question for Jasmine. Uh, so how do you build trust with your audience or clients?
So the way that I build trust is by making myself available to all my emails, social media. Um, People can reach out to me when they have a problem, and I will respond immediately. And I also am really good at making all of my customers VIPs. Like every single person who has supported my small business, I hand make everything. I run everything through, the quality tests for everything that comes, across to me. And I've been asked many times, like, why don't I scale, right? Like, why don't you just have China make everything? And it's because I care so much about the experience of the customer. And it comes across in my product, the love that I put into hand making every necklace. And it also comes across like when a customer has a problem. I recently had somebody, order all these necklaces for an event, and I rush shipped them, and UPS lost it. And they contacted me like, it was so upset. And I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. We'll get it. I'll refund you 100%. Like, I don't play the games that you see nowadays on these Instagram shops where it's like, oh, you're gonna get it in 2 weeks or a month later after you order it, and then you have to email a customer service person that may or may not, respond. Like, I take a very personal approach, and I know that every single person that buys a necklace from me is supporting me. Like you guys said, like they're not necessarily buying the product, even though they are, but they have made my life and business grow. And I absolutely let people know, like every review that I get, I respond to it saying thank you. and just really making sure that the customer knows that I absolutely appreciate them and they feel valued. And sometimes I'll throw in a little extra things here and there, spend extra time on them. But also, as alluded to earlier, not making myself too available to where, I get lost in, responding to things all day or whatever, but I do make sure that the customer knows how appreciative I am of them, and that is how I build trust.
So now let's talk about some real deep dives into the financial world. We're going to go back and forth between our experts in the fields. I want to ask a couple of questions to starting with Timu and Alibaba are trash. It's so funny. The chat's going nuts for what you're saying. So Ria, I want to ask you first. What is one financial habit that helps strengthen your business long term?
One thing about me is I actually take the advice that I give as well. I'm a very, I wouldn't say frugal, but I'm very mindful of where my money goes. So I think that the biggest financial habit that's helped me strengthen my business for the long term is just understanding my numbers, right? And understanding your numbers is, it can go deeper into outside of just the financial side of things, understanding, if you're marketing, understanding numbers on, what is most effective and where you should be spending most of your time. The same way you can look at numbers that way, that's how you look at the numbers in your business and seeing, okay, if I'm spending X amount of hours doing this task, but I only made X amount of dollars, that helps you to know that, okay, this activity may not be as fruitful as this activity. So keeping your eye on your money is so important. I have a funny saying that I like to tell people. So my little saying is, I feel like money is like a mean mistress or a cruel mistress. If you don't pay attention to her, she's going to leave you. And I see that happen a lot with the business owners I work with. They're making a lot of money, but they're also losing a lot of money because they're not really paying attention to what's flowing in and out. And a lot of times when they want to move and, scale and try to get loans or whatever the case may be, they can't even do those things because they haven't properly organized their P&Ls, balance sheets, their books aren't done properly. It really takes money to make money.
Now
And
you're talking
you
our
need,
language.
yeah, it takes
The
money
P-
to make money.
Yes.
You have to be paying attention to those dollars if you expect to scale. So I think that's the biggest habit that helps me is just paying attention to all the numbers in my business.
no, you hit the nail on the head. I have that conversation all day long with people about, oh, you're not going to get that because you look for the last 5 years, all you wanted to do was write everything off. Why are you calling me today asking me how you're going to get a loan?
Exactly.
Um, so with that, my question is to my next question is to Deja. What systems or tools have transformed your operations the most?
What systems or tools have transformed my operations? Is that what you said?
Exactly, yeah. What systems or tools do you use that have helped you to skyrocket your business?
Workshops and like trainings, especially hands-on. I've done a lot. I mean, between September of last year to now, I've probably hosted over 30, maybe 40, probably more trainings like in person, where people can come specifically for my business. People can come and see how to do things like hands-on, not just a presentation where I'm talking and people are falling asleep, but actually having I think a lot of times we have the vision, we have the ideas, but we miss the execution for certain things. And so being able to have hands-on workshops where people can do things in real time and I'm able to help them, that has helped my community grow at a high rate, because people are actually being able to, I don't know about you guys, but I'm hands on. You can talk to me all day long. You can send me a 3-4 page instruction thing. When you show me how to do something, it sticks with me more. So that has really helped. That system with just hands-on workshops and trainings have really helped my business flow.
That is that is incredible to hear how the in person still actually works. Most people like think everything is virtual, 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 virtual. To hear, I have been an advocate for in person forever. So to hear somebody say it with me is awesome. Um, so my next question goes to Tamira. Tamira, you've launched a lot of campaigns and products and things like that with your uh, with your field. How do you approach budgeting and launching products and services and
That is
campaigns?
such a good one because that is a tricky topic. Nobody ever wants to talk about the money. Um, so especially where I'm at, we have to beg for money right now, especially in radio. People rather spend their money elsewhere. Why pay for radio ads or radio placements when you can just put a Instagram ad out, right? So um, when we're doing our budget, first we have to figure out what do we think makes the most sense and what's going to give us the best return for what we're spending this money on. So realistically, like if I'm at a radio company right now and we have 5 shows, everybody wants to throw an event. They want to get out there, they want to meet the people, they want to do promotions, they want to give away T-shirts, they want to give concert tickets. But we have to figure out one, which show gets the most attention. That's the easiest way to figure it out, right? Who has the most followers, who people listen to the most. Um, and then we could also go by just social media, who has a bigger presence, who will more people show up for? How can we repurpose this? What if we can get more than just one thing out of this event if we use a different show versus this? So you have to look at different factors, especially like when I'm looking at radio. But in general, with your business, when you're making the budget, it always has to make sense. And always plan for something unexpected. Give yourself some wiggle room when you're making a budget. Um, be realistic. I think I said that already. And know your worth and check twice. Follow behind people. Make sure that you get different prices from different companies. Um, and always know you're getting what you pay for. Just because something is cheaper doesn't necessarily mean that it's the better quantity. You are gonna have to use different companies and learn those lessons, and it is gonna be hard. But this is why I always say networking is very important. Talk to people around you who have maybe invested in whatever you want to invest in for your company. See if that investment is worth it. Should I take this workshop? Should I take this class? Should I buy this book? Should I invest in this billboard over here? So just be homework, like we said, and research. Um, know what you want to get out of the investment in the budget, and make sure you really know what it's going to entail to actually get what you want done. Sometimes we overlook a small expense that's going to end up costing us more in the long run. And that's why I say people like mentors are very important because they can help you. You should never be the smartest person in the room. So,
Yeah, you had two things that struck me with that, which was always have like a little 20% extra budget for the oopsies because something's gonna happen.
there is
And the second
always
one,
the oopsie.
yep,
Like
and the
even the
second one that
smallest
struck.
thing. Okay, sorry.
No, no,
So
no,
like
go, go,
I had
go.
an event
Even
we had an event the other day and some we thought we had everything covered, but then people were throwing away some of the plates that we were eating on because they didn't realize it was like decor plates and not just like the eat and throw out plates. And that's something small that you think, okay, it's covered, we pay the people to come set up, and then they send you an invoice later for another $1,000 like, hey, we lost this many cups and plates during the event. So there's a lot of other things that could go in the budget that you might not plan for. So you definitely want to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room as well.
Yeah, and then the second one that I always get is the value, in at least with the tax side of business, in the beginning time of year, I get the call constantly like, how much does it cost for a tax return and how much does it cost? Listen, services are based on forms and complexity, and you get what you pay for. I like to use the example as we are chefs cooking steaks and they sell you the same steak at Denny's as they do at the Fleming's or the Morton's or the most expensive steakhouse in your neighborhood. and they sell it everywhere in between, and it's still a steak. And guess what? Our steak might be more than you expected, or maybe you paid for a steak and you didn't get what you thought you paid for at the time. But this is what the steak's costing today, because that's what you're ordering, and it's a la carte. So if you want the sides, there's a fee for that too. But that brings me to the question in the chat, which was very, very awesome to see getting brought up, which is directed for Kenisha, which I'm going to ask right now, which is from Stephanie. What is one way entrepreneurs can protect themselves legally?
The way entrepreneurs can protect themselves legally, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, the first thing is making sure you have the right documents in place. That is the quick and simple answer to that. But more specifically, you have to think about what's going to happen, what's going to happen to my business if something were to happen to me, either temporarily or in a more permanent state. What's going to happen? And that's when you look towards your governing documents. So for my business owners that have LLCs, you're looking at your operating agreements, or corporations, you're looking at your bylaws or your shareholder agreements. And but even with that, looking at them and seeing what does it say? Some of us have these agreements in place and it's very bare bones. It has nothing in it. So what's the point of having it? But in those documents, you can say if something happens to me, this is the person that's going to be next in line. This is the person that's going to be handling, whatever decisions that you have to make in your business. And then taking it a step further, do they have access? Do they have access to your bank accounts, to your passwords, etc.? And that's where a power of attorney will come into place. A lot of times when we're thinking about estate planning, we're thinking about trust and wills, and that's certainly a big part of it. But power of attorneys are so important because it gives the people who should have access when you're not able to act, and it leaves it out of the court's hands. So that's one thing. And then the additional thing, you can put your business into a trust. And if your business interest is in a trust, then if anything were to happen to you, your trustee will jump into action. Whoever's under you, your trustee will jump in and make those decisions. So the overall answer to that is having the proper documents in place. And you'll know that by talking to an attorney. An attorney will be able to walk you through that. And to let you know what you will need for your specific situation. So anything I say, this is general advice. Everybody has a unique situation. And a professional will be able to guide you through that. I would love to work with you. But of course, you can work with whoever you feel most comfortable with.
In the chat, I just put the webinar link. Each speaker's direct contact information is on the front page. So if you want to get with, so Stephanie, if you want to get with Kenisha, all her contact info is there. Stephanie is looking like she wants to ask you some direct questions about how to get with an attorney like yourself. The next part of the question I'm going to ask, which is the same, but split with the ending word of financially. Ria, how does an entrepreneur start a financial relationship with somebody like yourself? And how do they protect their money?
Well, really, the first step is just having a consultation. I think a big misconception that goes on is that you have to have a lot of money to work with an investment advisor. Consultations are free. So even if you aren't ready to start your investment, journey with an advisor like myself, like let's say you still need to work on the budgeting side, right? A consultation will talk to you, really get a breakdown of what your situation is, and be able to give you the proper guidance on how to break everything down. Because I think that, when you're trying to do all this and organize it on your own and try to work and live life and deal with whatever you got to deal with, it makes it seem not as digestible. So really the first step is picking up the phone and making sure you are leaning on those professionals in your community so that you're able to at least know what are your first steps that you need to take so that you can get to where you want to be in your financial journey. And there was another piece to that question, Dave. I think I missed one part.
Uh, it was just how to protect them and how to get with you. So if someone wanted to get with
Okay.
an advisor, you're saying the first step is to get the consultation. I think you actually hit the nail on the head.
Oh, and then you said the protection piece too.
Yeah.
I want to speak to Kenisha. So when it comes to the protection side, I've been working with her a lot with my clients. And, let's say if you do schedule a consultation, I figure out that, oh, there are some additional things that are outside of my scope that are needed. And my side of finance, we don't necessarily assist too much in the protection side outside of insurance planning, but we do partner with other professionals in the legal and tax side to make sure that we are speaking to one another so we have a cohesive plan. So while we're helping you to build a wealth, we have another person like Kenisha on the line or whoever your attorney would be. We partner with those professionals to make sure that you're also protecting all the things you're working hard to build. So that's how you can kind of work on protecting your finances as well. So
Yeah, you got to have a team that works with you for your goal that you've directed. Everyone's ship goes in a different direction. So you got to have a captain, you're going to need an engineer, you're going to have a first mate. It's literally your attorney, your financial advisor, your tax professional. They got to help steer you in the right direction. So make sure you build the team so you can captain the ship. My question next is going to be for Alyson. Alyson, uh how do you maintain the balance between being a visionary and managing the day-to-day operations?
Well, thank you for calling me a visionary. I appreciate that. And all of the ladies here, big shout out to everyone, and David and Jeff too, are all visionaries. Visionary, first and foremost, is we've heard the term community a lot on this conversation today. I think that is key. Your community is going to be critical in that balance for your day to day too. Who can you call, text, lean on, whether it's friends or professionals in your network that support your vision, right? That are going to be with you and have your back, even when the days are really hard. Because let's get it very clear, it is not an easy journey. So the fact that if you are looking to start a business or you have a business you're running, bravo, because this journey isn't for everybody. So having that community is key as you continue to build your legacy, to use a word that Kenisha shared today, which I think is key, right? Is really thinking about where are you going with that vision as well? What are you looking to build, year over year, day after day, really staying present. So you're talking about that balance of that overall vision, but then that like day to day, what does that look like? So I think a lot of nails have been hit on the head today. So I'll just kind of reiterate some of those points as well, which is again, delegating, making sure you're really attentive to the task that, you're most needed for. Knowing when to say no, as Tamara said earlier, right? Like, this isn't for me, it's not a fit, and that's okay. And it's not personal, right? So don't get caught up in that because that will also take a lot of time. Whether it's something you're evaluating, somebody you're evaluating, working with, so on and so forth. So community and tribe, key, right? The day to day is having that lens to feel free to say no to something that doesn't work, doesn't fit, doesn't serve you. And this was also said today is your worth. So really asking for what it is that you are deserving of. And don't be afraid of that. And that's okay. If somebody says, okay, as David did the steak analogy, it's okay. If they're not buying your steak today, then they're not the right person for you, and that's okay. So I think just have that grace and that patience with yourself day to day too. It's life. Some days are amazing, some days aren't as great. We all go through them. We're living this amazing human experience called life. Be patient with yourself, trust the process, and believe in yourself, trust in yourself, trust that gut.
I couldn't have said it better. I do always emphasize on my team an 80-20 rule. If 100% of everyone's telling you yes to your price, you're too low. 20% should be telling you you're a little too much, and it's okay. You should be able to deal with the one or 2 out of 10 that tell you it's not okay. I'm good with that. More than that is probably not a good ratio. So 80-20. Um, I did get a tap that we have a 5-minute warning from Eileen, so I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. I don't want to keep my East Coast guests too late. So I do want to start asking one last question, 1 minute each, and then we can go to Eileen's last minute surprise that she's going to give us before we close out. So my last questions are very, very easy and fun. Um, so I want to start with Kenisha. What should every woman in business focus on before the new year?
100% see if you have a succession plan in place, an estate plan in place, succession plan for your business. And if you don't, contact an estate planning attorney. If we did a consultation, I would walk you through it. Many people think that I have to have all these things in order, or I have to have a lot of assets and I have to have a lot of this, but you don't. If you have a business, you have something worth protecting. So contact an estate planning attorney. They'll walk you through it, walk you through the entire process, and then you can make sure that, again, your legacy is protected and set up for your family, for your beneficiaries, for your children, etc.
It's so true. You got to protect everything. I couldn't have said it better. Tamira, I have a question for you. For women that are balancing business and family and life, what's the best practical tip that we can give everyone today to stay balanced?
Make a schedule, write it down. I'm such a like a list person, and like if you don't write it down, you're gonna forget it. I don't care what nobody says. So best thing you could do is routines. Get some routines that work for you, realistic ones. Don't set yourself up for failure and put too much on your schedule. Like I said, give yourself some extra wiggle room. Some of us live in Atlanta. Traffic is not an excuse for being late to anything, so always factor that in. And even those of you on the West Coast, LA always has bad traffic too. So be realistic about what you have to do, make to-do lists, prioritize. And like we said earlier, delegate some of those tasks. You are not by yourself. You have a community, you have a support system. Ask for help when you need it, and everything will be okay 100%.
Thank you. Couldn't have said it better. Um, Jasmine, what's the one thing you wish you knew earlier in your entrepreneurial journey?
I wish I would have known how lucrative bookkeeping could be. Maybe I wouldn't have
Get
even bothered with
QuickBooks.
the one.
Get QuickBooks.
No, absolutely. One of the things that doing the bookkeeping now has really taught me is how important it is to not only have a QuickBooks and track your expenses, like even when you're just doing your hobby stuff, like if I had tracked, all the little things I was buying downtown and, all the events that I was going to, talk to people, get information, if I was tracking any of the mileage that I was driving to these events, going to wine country, going to these places, tracking all my R&D, tracking all even though I didn't know yet I had a business, making, if I would have even just on a spreadsheet tracked, kept my receipts, just maybe I'll need this one day and taken a picture of it and put it into a receipts folder. Like if you learn nothing else today, people, do this for yourself. Whether you have a business or not, take a picture of every receipt you get and have a receipts folder by month, by year, whatever you want to do, and upload those receipts. If you get an email receipt, save it to a receipts folder in your email. Do not delete it. You will need it later, I promise you. And always download your bank statements and hold on to them, because when you close your bank account, you will lose it. So one of the things that I would say that I wish I would have known earlier on is to just document everything. Document everything, even if you think you might not need it. This might not be important. Well, if it's not important, it's better to over prepare and not need it than end up having to backtrack, because as Dave knows, doing the bookkeeping, I am a specialist in like cleanup. And my clients are like, what do you mean I have to call the bank to get statements that, because I closed my account? And it's like, what? People do not like having to backtrack at all. The amount of work you end up having to do in the long run after backtracking is a nightmare. So whether it's a spreadsheet, opening a simple QuickBooks, and figuring out online the tutorials on how to just basically keep track of your bank statements, even if you're not reconciling it, just keep everything in one place. You might need it. That would be my hands down best advice.
Or in simple words, just holler at Tax Shack.
Call your money mommy.
Yep. I have a question for Deja, which is, how can women support each other better in the world of business?
Oh, wow. I think women can support each other better by just reposting and sharing. I know it sounds so cliche, but it's like even your friends and family, like the closest people to you, just as simple, even if you don't invest in my business, or even if you don't want to buy a product or anything, just a simple repost and share, I think could be used and just utilized amongst the women. I mean, in general, in the entrepreneurship and business community in general, we are so quick to support and like and share and all these things for everyone else. But I think amongst each other, we can be a little bit more friendly and just be supportive. I think it's really, really important for us to do that because all we have is each other. But you'll also realize how, the strangers will be the ones to support your business more than the people that actually know you. And I think that's really interesting. But, just to answer the question, I think we can just be more supportive in sharing and, networking and things of that nature.
Incredible. You reminded me to add my one ask of today. If everyone can take their phone out and take a picture of the screen, take a screen snapshot, that way we can all repost it and tag everyone on that note. That way we can all share and support each other.
While you guys are grabbing your cameras, I'll give you all something to smile about, which is David likes the 80-20 rule, but I like the 50-50 rule, which is half off. So one of the things that we're going to be doing for Black Friday and for the holidays, we have our Deductions and Chill and Deduction Daddy and Money Mommy, all of our Tax Shack merch. We do have an online shop for that, so you will all get a link right after the webinar with the recording from tonight. I know there have been a lot of great questions asked, and you may have friends or family or colleagues that you'd like to share this with that couldn't be on live tonight. So feel free to forward that recording on to them, as well as the code, the Black Friday discount code. It'll automatically apply in your cart. So feel free to say, we've got hats and hoodies and things in all sorts of different shapes, sizes, and colors. So feel free to rock the merch and be in touch with us afterwards. We'd love to see it. If you get anything, send us a selfie. We'll be sure to repost it.
Oh yeah, thank you. Okay, last two questions real quick that I just wanted to ask because I think they're really, really fun. It's going to be one for Ria, and then the last one's going to be for Allie. Ria, what's one piece of advice you would no, that's the one question I want to ask Allie. What advice do you have for women trying to step into entrepreneurship with confidence? How do we enter with confidence now?
I would say the way you enter with confidence is by taking the first step. Because, just to give you a personal example, I had no true desire to go out and figure out how to build my own practice, but I knew that I wanted something different for myself. And a lot of times that confidence is built by taking each step at a time. And if you have that nudge, that's how you build confidence, by following that nudge you have. If you keep on denying, like, oh, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, you'll lessen your confidence in yourself. You need to trust yourself and know that taking that step is the right direction for you, because you wouldn't have that feeling in your chest and your mind. You wouldn't have that thought in your mind if it wasn't meant for you to pursue it. And a lot of times that confidence comes and that clarity comes the more steps that you take. I know for me, just taking steps, it really helped me to build my practice in a way where I wasn't expecting. I did a lot of different seminars and I hated public speaking. I still don't feel the most comfortable public speaking, but I've gotten more confident at it. And each time I do it, the better I get at it, and the more relationships I make, and the more confident I get in doing the next new thing. So I would say building confidence just depends on you taking the step and making it happen.
It's yeah. Take the first step. It's so true. Okay. My last question of the night, and then I'm going to do a quote because I always like to close my meetings with a quick quote. So I'm going to rewind my quote that I did Tuesday morning because I think it's perfect and fitting. But Allie, if you had to start, what's your advice? This is a question from the audience from Cash. I'm just rewording it. What's one piece of advice you would give to somebody building a business from zero?
One piece of advice is just to plan, my friend. I think we addressed a few of these things because there's a lot that goes into it, right? But just take the first step, as Ria just said. But that is the planning piece, and that is the part where it's not just like, okay, I want to do this thing, which is awesome, but just start to get some things down. And now more than ever, and again, I'm not here to advocate just for AI, but it is a new tool, like we've said, that really can help you, especially as you're starting out and getting those task lists in order and really trying to not feel that overwhelm that comes with just that, okay, I'm going to start, right? So chunking it down into smaller tasks that will allow you to really see that light at the end of the tunnel. So just go for it.
Just go for it is the truth. It really is the best truth. If you start with zero, you have to start somewhere and just try. It really is the facts. So without further ado, I want to say thank you to every woman on the panel and that joined us tonight to be involved with the Women in Business seminar. I really appreciate each and every one of you personally. You and every guest here could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with us today. With that, I want to tell you my favorite quote from Queen Elizabeth that I have found recently because I did a recent trip to London, which has got me watching The Crown, which has got me into some stuff. So I did Women in Business quote this week, which worked out really well. So it says, I know of no single formula for success, but over the years, I have observed some attributes of leadership are universal and are often about finding ways of encouraging people to combine their efforts, their talents, their insights, their enthusiasms, and their inspiration to work together. So with that note, thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And yeah, I really can't say thank you to all of you enough. If you have any questions for any of the individual speakers, please, if you go to the webinar link, everyone's LinkedIn profile or direct website or links are there to be connected with each and every one of us. Please feel free to go to the taxshack.shop shop and grab some merch for yourself for Black Friday. Get some sweatshirts because it's getting cold. And enjoy your rest of your evening. Thank you all.